Welcome back everyone to Zuma Fan. So, finally here I'm doing the Q&A, and I have to say I got a lot of questions, so I'm very excited to read all these, and yeah, I'm just very hyped about this. I know that it's been a while. It's taken 3 weeks to make this, so yeah, I'm not going to let you guys wait any longer. So, with that said, let's dive in. So, question 1 comes from SV Saul, and there was a little bit of an issue where I didn't really understand the question, and this individual clarified, and they basically wanted to know why my channel is named Zuma Fan. Well, the reason why I was named Zuma Fan was because when I was thinking about becoming a YouTuber to talk about Paw Patrol, at that point in time, I was a huge fan of Zuma. It was Chase who was the better character, but Zuma was always my favorite for the fact that he had the water job, and I liked swimming at that point. He was also the cutest out of the group. And I said, if I ever make a YouTube channel about the Paw Patrol, I'm going to call it Zuma Fan because I am a fan of Zuma, and I've stuck with that. And that was many years back before I even had a YouTube channel. So when I made this YouTube channel, I knew I had to call it Zuma Fan because that's what I said I would always make it from the very start. Next question comes in from Bad Times with Elfies. What is your favorite villain in the Paw Patrol and why? Also, do you think that any of the villains in the show will one day have a true redemption arc? If so, who would be the first in your opinion? Well, I would say that my favorite villain would be Sweetie, and I think that she would actually be the one to get a redemption arc, which I think that she might actually have. But judging from recent episodes, that's all paws on deck. She seems to be trying to steal the crown again, which I thought she would stop doing because in episodes before that, she seemed to generally just hang out with the princess. And even in Jet to the Rescue, she also helped out the princess in the castle by helping save it. So I believe that she might have gone through some arc to become a, better character and not be a villain anymore. But I think they went back on that. But I think that not only is she my favorite, but she's also the most likely to go on an arc where she becomes a better person and helps people out. So, yeah, I hope that answers that question. Next question is from Shan, who asks, how long have you been watching Paw Patrol? What is your favorite episode? And what is your least favorite pup? Well, I've been watching the Paw Patrol for as long as it's been out. So I've been, basically a huge fan for a long time, almost 10 whole years at this point. So, yeah, what is my favorite episode is Pups on Ice back in season 1. And who is your least favorite pup? I think that is Rubble pretty easily. I would put Marshall there, but I think Rubble has been pretty consistent, at least unlike Marshall, who's like all over the place. But I'll give it to Rubble in this one that he's consistently bad, unlike Marshall, where, he's good and bad at certain episodes, and even certain seasons he's better than others. So, but that good kind of keeps him from being much lower on the list. Next question from Benny Chan asks, what's your favorite Paw Patrol pup and why? I've made a video on this last year in December, I believe, and it's easily Skye, and I give my reasons in that video, and I think I'll just link it down below for those who want to see it, but I give my reasons why Skye is my favorite, and I know it's a shocker, but yeah, I think Skye is easily the best character, and she's my favorite as of right now. I know that people want to hear me say it's Zuma, but I don't think that there's enough going on with the character at this point to really say anything good about him. There's something going on to the point where it's like, oh, I can say something bad. It's just, he's pretty bland, I would say, even though he's got like elements of character there that could be interesting, but because they don't do anything with him, I just don't really have much thought with him. So Skye's easily my favorite. Gigi Booker asks, what is your least favorite Paw Patrol subseries? And that I think right now is Big Truck Pups, and that's mostly because there's not much going on there. So basically say all the good things that I can about the designs of the vehicles and the suits, But unfortunately, I see absolutely no reason as to why they would use tractor trailers in any of the missions. Makes absolutely no sense. Quite pointless. And since the tractor trailers just open up with their actual vehicles inside, kind of defeats the purpose of having tractor trailer as your vehicle. So I think that is probably the most useless, and for that very reason, I would consider it the very worst. So next question is from Daniel Robert O. Silva, fan from Brazil. Sorry, my English, but that's totally fine with your English, and thank you for watching me all the way from Brazil. How do you think the Paw Patrol makes money for many equipments? What are your theories about Ryder's parents? Do you think Copycat and Everest will appear in the Mighty movie? How do the Paw Patrol make their money for their equipment? I believe that they're probably paid by Mayor Goodway and the townsfolk for all the good that they do, and I believe that's also confirmed in the movie, Paw Patrol the movie, that they also make merchandise, which is probably from the town itself, and they're probably quite famous because of it, and that merch gets sold around and all the money goes to them. As to the theory about Ryder's parents, I don't know much about their parents. As far as I know, that they're in the town of Adventure Bay and they're just hanging out there. But the creators of the show want us to focus mainly on Ryder and the Paw Patrol, so they keep the parents out of it. As far as Copycat in Everest, there could be an appearance, at least, like, maybe in the background. Copycat could appear in, like, you know, at the very end, you know, like a post-credit scene or something like that. But I don't believe that they're going to make anything like a huge reveal in the movie. I think that, if anything, they'll just be more background characters. And Copycat will probably not be in the movie. I think Everest has a bigger chance than Copycat does. So, there you go. Night Zuma asks, which is my favorite music? And I would say that the one that I enjoyed since I was a kid was always classical music. I've always liked the orchestral. I always liked the calming feel of it, especially when you're in the rain, you're listening to that. Very, very beautiful. I also like rock. I like pop. I wouldn't say I like that much of modern music today, but I would say that if you dig deep enough, you can actually find some really good ones. I would shout out Joji because he's easily one of my favorite music creators right now, and his music has that feeling, that beauty of classical music. I don't believe there's that much classical at all in his music, but he is able to capture that feel like in my soul for that. So he does a great job there while also being that very modern sounding music and all the messages that he has in his music. I really like Joji's music. So yeah, those are basically all of them. I actually really like a lot of music. So next question from this person who I'm afraid of butchering your name here, so I'm just going to call you Antano. And Antano asks, if you could make your own plot for a Paw Patrol episode / special, what would it be? I think that Zuma, this would be a very good episode for me. If I were making an episode or directing it, you know, writer or something like that, an episode that I would come up with would have no segments in it, because there's usually 2 segments, as we all know, in episodes. But I feel like it would be one continuous episode. Now, that could be a special, or it could just be the length of a regular episode. Not really sure how on earth you would make a complete 40-minute special out of this idea. But it would have to take place during a storm, and Ryder and Zuma would be doing a rescue mission on the water, and the two of them would get separated. Ryder would go back to the beach, but because of the storm, Zuma and his hovercraft are dragged away from the beach, and he gets stranded on a faraway island, and he's all by himself, and he has no way to communicate with the rest of the Paw Patrol. And we basically have to follow the character trying to survive on this island so that the Paw Patrol can later on come and find him. I think that this would be really good for Zuma's character to focus on his intelligence and what he does with the situation. We can even explore some of the emotions with him and how much he actually cares about the group, this family of his. And I think that that would be really good. It would give Zuma a lot of time on screen. And like I said, we would see a lot of his intelligence and how he would deal with this. So, yeah, that would be an idea for a plot. I hope that that actually sounds very interesting to the rest of you, but that's kind of what I got. So I hope that answers the question. This question is from Erie. What other show besides Paw Patrol, cartoon or not, do you watch? Well, I watch a lot of stuff, and a lot of Star Wars stuff, and there's a lot of shows, like Clone Wars, Mandalorian. Now, of course, even though I watch them, doesn't mean I enjoy them, but I still watch them anyways. So, if you just want to know, like, the shows that I actually specifically enjoy that I watch, I got a lot I could recommend everybody. I just got done watching season 2 and the movie of Love Live, so I definitely recommend that show. I have in my posts, and Andor is also phenomenal. Arcane is also one of the best shows I've ever watched. Infinity Train, Regular Show, Adventure Time. Like, there's hundreds of shows that I watch, much like the movies. There's just a lot of stuff that I watch, and I could recommend them to you, but I do watch a lot, so yeah, it's not just the Paw Patrol. Next question is from Robert, who asks, who is the most underrated and overrated character in the Paw Patrol? And also, what do you think of Chase as a character? Personally, he is my favorite character. Well, when it comes to underrated, I think it would probably be Skye. I know that she's used a lot, but I feel like that not a lot of people understand how good the character is. And I feel like they focus on a lot of characters who don't actually have character. And even though she's one of the best and she's put on basically all the items that they sell, she's in a lot of the marketing and she's getting the Mighty Movie. She's the main character there. So I am glad that she's getting more appreciation as she deserves, because she was very underrated for a long time. Who is the most overrated character? Well, we all know who that is. It's got to be Marshall, everybody. Come on now. You got to understand, he's very overrated. Everyone likes him for absolutely no reason. They just like him for those giggles. I don't know what it is, but people just like him. I have absolutely no idea why. And what do I think of Chase as a character? I actually liked him a lot, and I don't know. I feel like his character hasn't been doing that much. He just shows up, he does his job, and then he gets out, and that's really it. But there was a lot to him in season 1 and even in Paw Patrol the movie. So there's a lot of character there that I can make a video on and explore. I actually do like Chase. He was my favorite character originally, along with Zuma, but he was easily my favorite. And now he's a little bit below because they haven't really been doing much with him. But I can easily explore his character in future videos talking about how great he is. So the next question is from Roni. I don't know how to say that, but first, do you have a favorite Marshall voice actor? Mine is Drew Davis. If Drew Davis is the voice actor in season 1, then yes. But if he's the voice actor in season 2, then no. I actually think that that's probably the worst voice for Marshall. I did like his voice when he was Tiny Marshall, though, when he was turned small in his dream walking around with ants. But outside that, I found his voice the most irritating thing that God put on this earth. And I really hope that when the actor gets older, he loses that voice forever. I never want to hear it again. So yeah, but if it is season 1, then yes, season 1's voice actor is easily my favorite. 2, do you have a favorite Rubble and Crew character? No. And 3, what is your least favorite Paw Patrol villain and your favorite Paw Patrol villain? Well, Sweetie is my favorite Paw Patrol villain, and my least favorites would probably be Humdinger, I think. And that's mostly because they ruined his character. It probably would have been somebody like Ladybird or Harold Humdinger, but I feel like they do more villainous things, and they didn't have like a good beginning like Humdinger. Humdinger had a great beginning. He was a good villain back then, and then they ruined him, which makes it more painful for me, which puts him down a notch below everybody else just for that, and the fact that he's in every single episode. I hate him so much, and I can't escape him, and he's just ridiculous. Well, the rest of the characters, they were bad from the very beginning, so I never had an attachment to them. So, yeah, that's why Humdinger is probably the worst villain in the show. This question is from Christian. What is your favorite Paw Patrol episode? And congratulations on 1K. Thank you so much. And my favorite episode is Pups and Ice, hopefully getting a review out at some point. Next question is from Cartoon Fan, who says, congrats, all the Paw Patrol torture and Aquapups and Big Truck Pups finally paid off, huh? I guess you could say that. It was choking the life out of me watching those. My main question, I have 12, highly doubt it. 1, what is the best episode of the Paw Patrol? Pups on Ice, personally. What is the worst episode of Paw Patrol? Well, that's the one where Liberty comes in for the first time. I hate that episode, and reviews are coming, guys. Don't you dare worry. They're pretty much the same 3 more times, but with Phineas and Ferb, Murphy's Law, and Steven Universe, along with the asking what you think of those shows. I liked Phineas and Ferb when I watched it. I did enjoy Steven Universe, even though that show gets a lot of heat, and I can totally understand why. As for Milo Murphy's Law, I don't believe I ever saw that one. 12, as I said before, totally skipped over it. You went straight to 12, which is great. Who do you think is the most likely to be LGBTQ in the Podule? I think probably Everest, I think. I think she exudes more, dare I say, lesbian vibes, I think. So I think she would probably be the most likely to be LGBTQ in the group and in the show in general. Next question from the Thunderbird Zero, who asks, do you think Rocky and Zuma make a good couple? As of right now, I don't feel comfortable talking about children being couples in anything, but I do think that they're probably great friends. I believe that even some promotional videos back in the day when they were talking about the pups and detailing the characters, they even said that Rocky and Zuma were friends, great friends, in fact. And I think that that's true, although, like I said, many characters have kind of grown apart in a way to where they barely interact with each other or say anything of significance. So, couple, no, but friends, yes, and I would actually like to see them continue on to be friends in the series, and I wish that we would get back some of that character-focused stuff. But when they're older, perhaps we can have a conversation about them being couples, but as of right now, no. Next question is from the big man himself, Diappy Meats. What was your inspiration for doing YouTube to begin with, and why do you focus on Paw Patrol? Congrats on 1K. Thank you, Meat. When it comes to inspiration to do YouTube, I think it would probably be watching YouTube videos when I was a kid. I didn't actually have Wi-Fi in the house originally. So when I was a kid, we would have to go down to stores or visitor centers that had free Wi-Fi, and that's where I would watch YouTube. And I would basically just download videos because I was going to be bored in my house because I couldn't watch anything. And I couldn't really go anywhere because I was a kid. So I would just watch basically downloaded YouTube videos all the time, and they kept me entertained. And yeah, I think that the idea of having your opinion out there and someone listening to you, your thoughts, your opinions, and actually taking it to heart, maybe change something or, and the type of videos that I watched was like toy stuff. So I really like toy reviews and reviews of anything, really. I just really enjoy seeing those things up close and detailed. Even got me to buy some toys. So yeah, I always took the YouTubers' opinions to heart, and I end up like paying and buying for stuff that I thought was actually pretty good and their reviews of it. So I got inspired by basically YouTube itself. Not really sure if there was anyone in particular, but I really liked the idea of people just hearing you out and listening to your opinions and seeing it as something worth listening to. So I always found that really cool. And why did I focus on Paw Patrol? Well, this wasn't the first thing that I focused on. There's actually many channels of mine out there. And I did try doing like a filmmaking type thing, and I was really in my filmmaking type head around like 2017 or so. And I would just make videos of myself like recording garden shots and trying to edit them in a very cool way and be doing some things, interacting and recording that as well, trying to look cool and all that. And then I had the biggest channel that I had, which didn't have like any subscribers in it, but it was big by content, like how much I uploaded on there, which is the Amazing Spider-Man Fan 2014. And it's not that good of a channel. I'll admit that. This channel, Zuma Fan, is easily better than that one. But at the time, I was very passionate about the character Spider-Man. Obviously, I'm a huge fan. I grew up with him. So I started making videos about him. But for some reason, I don't know why, but not many people saw my channel or my videos, not really interested. And my opinion just never really got out there. No one even watched it. So I was making like hundreds of videos and no one saw any of them. I updated like my backgrounds, updated my intro and all that, did reviews, everything that I could, and no one saw it. So I had like my two passions that were already down. So I had the filmmaking one, and I stopped that, and I pursued making a channel and content about Spider-Man specifically, who I grew up with and I loved a lot. And that went absolutely nowhere. So I stopped uploading to both of those channels. And basically, I had no channel at that point when I stopped uploading to the Amazing Spider-Man channel. And Paw Patrol, the movie was about to release a trailer, and I decided, you know what? Since I'm passionate about Paw Patrol, I did say that I wanted to make it many years ago. I finally had Wi-Fi in my house, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to make some videos about the Paw Patrol because that was another thing that I was passionate in, and I didn't know if I was going to even succeed at all. And I'm glad that I did now that I'm here doing this. In the beginning, I had other channels, but they just never succeeded and they didn't go anywhere. So this was just another topic on the list that I had to talk about, and it succeeded. So I'm very happy about that. But thank you, Meat, for your question. Any Style asks, I'm sorry, but I had this dream about Paw Patrol being an anime. What do you think of that idea? I've seen artwork on Twitter from people in Japan doing an anime style Paw Patrol, and it looks pretty cute, I'll admit. So I would be kind of fine with an anime Paw Patrol, and I'm not a huge fan of anime. There's only very few. I think Teen Titans for Cartoon Network, even though it's not really anime because it's not made in Japan, but it still looks very anime, and the people who made it really loved anime, so I consider that anime, and Love Live, obviously. So, yeah, I'm okay with anime right now, but I'm still not a big fan of it, but I think an anime Paw Patrol could work. Also, what do you think of Paw Patrol somehow becoming humans? Because I had a dream about that. Well, I don't think you can call it Paw Patrol if they became humans. Maybe in a dream, one of the pups dreams about them becoming humans and maybe Ryder becomes a pup, or they all become humans and Ryder reacts to it. That could be a possible plot for an episode, although that just doesn't really sound very good whatsoever. Also, congrats 1K subscribers, you deserve it. Thank you so much. Gigi Guy Booker asks, what was your favorite part in Paw Patrol the movie? Well, for me, it would probably have to be the character stuff with Chase and Ryder. I would say that their development was actually pretty good, and the story, as simple as it was, I say it's pretty good for a first-time movie for Paw Patrol. Like I said, you don't need to go out with this huge story, this huge plot. I think something simple worked for what they were doing, and they focused mainly on character, which was very good, and that's what they should be doing, because that's what the Paw Patrol is really all about. That's how it started, and therefore that's how it should stay. Next question is from Roy Sun. Which Mighty Pup power is your favorite? For me, I like Marshall's heat paws, and I hope he uses it in the new movie. Well, if you watch the trailer, he definitely does use it. And for me, there's 3 different pups that I could definitely see using their powers. It would be Zuma, Rocky, and Chase. So for Zuma, he can control water, and if it's possible, he can also control the weather as well, because the clouds are made out of water. He can probably prevent it from raining. He can turn his body into water, and you can see that in Mighty Pups, he also controls the water and makes a huge wave. So I feel like if there was maybe some type of natural disaster where everything will be flooded, I feel like I can get down there and stop the water from doing that and push it somewhere else. And because of climate change, the ice caps are melting and the water's going to keep rising. So I feel like I can use my water powers and push it somewhere else. But at the exact same time, you also have Rocky. And Rocky has the ability to build whatever he wants with his mind powers. And I think that that's also pretty cool. I would love to do that. And that could also be used for natural disasters too. If there's a building falling or a bridge that needs fixing, I could just use my powers and prop some stuff up or pick it up, trucks, cars, anything like that. I can basically use my mind and basically do whatever I want with it. And then I have Chase, who runs really fast, which this is actually for me as a selfish reason. But if the store's closing and I want a drink before it closes, I can run down there 3 seconds, pay for it, run back, and I got it before the store even closes, and I don't have to worry about lines or anything like that. So yeah, I would say that Chase's power is a lot more inherently selfish for me. But if I had to choose which power I would use, I would probably choose Zuma's, because I feel like there's a lot going on with water, flooding, rain. I could use my powers to start maybe like a rainstorm in a desert in areas with drought and stuff like that. So, and push water away if it's flooding in place, So I think Zuma is the one I'm going to go with. Atano, congrats on 1K subs. Thank you again. You have any hobbies like baseball, basketball? I actually like those sports. I used to play them when I was younger. Football, basketball, baseball. I grew up on movies like The Sandlot, so I was really into baseball, football as well. And I can even remember my favorite football player who played on the Arizona Cardinals. His name was Anquan Bolden. And I believe that he was probably traded to the Ravens, Baltimore Ravens. And since I liked him so much, I became a fan of the Baltimore Ravens at that time. And that same year that he became a player for the Baltimore Ravens, yeah, my team, I got to watch win the Super Bowl that year, which was great. So yeah, I really like sports, but for hobbies for me, I would say that it has to do with my talent, which is drawing. So for me, I think that is probably doing something that you can do on the side, but also make money on. And I do commission art. It's only $10. So if any of you want a commission art done for cheap, you can do that. You just got to contact me on Twitter. And I'm going to take this time right now to flex on you guys with my fantastic artwork. Now, look, all this art is phenomenal. I can't really help it. It's just something that I got. And, yeah, I can't really help but be better than everybody else. When it comes to the art thing, I'm pretty sure that none of you can actually beat me here because that's just how good I am. And, yeah, there's my art. Man, look how good this stuff is. Boy, oh boy, I'm getting wet. So I should probably stop now. I hope that answers your question. Yeah, so, yeah, thank you for that. Next question is from DC Fan with the Captain America show for a profile pic. Which movie are you excited about for 2023? Power Patrol, the Mighty movie, and that's it. Next question is from Marshall Limt. Congrats on 1K. Thank you so much. And your question is, what are your plans for the future? And will you consider changing your channel's video style when Paw Patrol finally ends? I'm not sure what you mean by style because the way that I edit, I would say, is the style. But I don't think that that's going to change. There's so much going on with the Paw Patrol, and I don't feel like it's going to end anytime soon. And even if it does, I have so many topics I can get through. There's an entire decade worth of Paw Patrol stuff and movies, so even if it were to end, I wouldn't change for a while because there's so much to talk about. So, yeah, I'm never actually going to stop when it comes to this because this is what my channel is all about. And the Paw Patrol is probably going to continue for a long, long time. And I really hope that it does because it actually is a good show. All faults with it. So, yeah, I don't feel like I'm going to be changing anytime soon. But plans for the future, I wanted to run this by you. And this goes for everyone what you think, but I want to have this channel shared with content of Apex Legends, a video game that I talked very highly of. And it's been a part of my life for 4 years, and it's continuing to be a part of my life, and there's so much going on with the story, the characters, skins, everything. So I want to do it in this topic type way. You know how you go on to my channel and you look at the lists. I would have a specific place for these videos, so it's not going to be like a whole cluttered mess. I would call myself Zuma the Legend specifically for that type of content where I would talk about Apex Legends and stuff. And it will mainly be about Paw Patrol. It's got to stay that way. But the way that I look at it is going to be similar to how Devin Meat makes videos about Paw Patrol and Bluey, which is a show that he loves. So that's how I would do it. Basically just making content for something that I like, while at the exact same time keeping my focus on the show that's made my channel possible. So that's kind of an idea that I want to hear if you guys are actually interested in, because I think that that would actually be very cool and change it up and keep my channel unique, even though I talk about a lot of Paw Patrol topics on here. But I think it would be good to talk about something other than Paw Patrol, while at the exact same time keeping what's true to you guys and to the channel here and what is possible. So yeah, let me know if that sounds like a cool idea. Hope that answers the question. Ingo asks, How's your life behind the scenes besides making YouTube videos? Congrats on reaching 1K subs. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much. And for my life, I would say that it's boring. I'm still living with my parents, and that's mostly because the town that I live in, I'll say this, there's like no apartment or house that you can actually get that's cheap, and I would say that the apartments, the prices are extremely high, and they're around to $1,000 to $2,000. So yeah, even though it's a small town, they demand so much from living. So yeah, I just live with my parents right now, and at the exact same time, I gotta hear all the stuff that comes with that, and I gotta work with them. And even though I'm doing something else, they have to annoy me for it. So I mean, that's fine if I'm kind of leeching off of them in a way, living with them and stuff. So I might as well do work while I'm here. Otherwise, that I'm just gonna be a lazy son who's just kind of taking everything from them. So I don't want to be that type of person. So I gotta work with them. But for the most part, I would say that it's pretty boring. And I really do like escaping to YouTube and making content and doing debates and all that. It keeps things interesting and keeps things being fresh, and I like hanging out with my friends and stuff. So, yeah, I would say it's boring, but at the exact same time, there's a lot of stuff going on in my life to where it's like, oh, well, there's a silver lining in the storm. So, yeah, that's what I'll say. Next question is from Slick Tag. Congrats on 1K. Thank you so much. By the way, what's the process behind making your videos? The process isn't actually that big whatsoever. It's actually extremely simple. And that is, you find a topic to talk about. Usually you gotta form an opinion on it. You don't want to go in there not having an opinion or faking it or anything like that for the sake of making it. Then when you have your opinion, you record, and I go into Power Direct, and I make my video and I send it out to you guys. So yeah. So the final question is from Nebula V, who asks, what is my real name and who was the inspiration for making powerful videos? So for my real name is Noah. And when it comes to who inspired me to make powerful videos, not really anybody. I talked about it before, earlier in this video, that I've always wanted to make powerful videos, and I had no idea about you, Nebula, or Daddy Me, or any of the big powerful YouTubers at that time. I've always wanted to make YouTube videos about the stuff I was passionate. So, like I said, I made videos about stuff like filmmaking, and then when that didn't work, I went to Spider-Man, and I came upon Paw Patrol as a topic to do because that was what I was into. So, when it came to who inspired me in the past to want to do something like this, it was nobody. But who inspired me to keep going was, of course, people like you and Daddy Meat who, succeeded in what you were doing in the videos that you were making. And so it kept me making videos and giving my opinions out there. So, yeah, I would say that no one inspired me in the beginning, but there were those during the creation of my channel who made me want to continue making videos. So, yeah, those are all the questions that I hope you guys enjoyed my answer. So, yeah, this was really long video, long question and answer, but I'm really glad that I was able to make it. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the 1K subs. It's fantastic. This is a great fan base. I'm very happy to be in the spot that I am right now, and I hope to gain more as time goes on. So thank you, and I will see you all later.